So coming up to 1:30. We're talking to Dino. Dean Phipps on the bow. Boy, it's crunch time now. The breeze is up to 12 knots. They're 130 metres out from the committee boat.
1 minute 17.
Well, One Australia in the windward position. Maybe they're going to try and lead in.
They're a long way from the line.
Long way from the line. Team New Zealand's a long way from the line. 1 minute. Down comes the blue flag. One Australia are leading back in.
Again, if you wanted to, Rod, we'll be late for the line here if we don't go.
So One Australia are looking good, particularly if they want to go down to the pin end, if that is the favourite end of the line. Now One Australia, Rod Davis brings it into the breeze, coming in onto port. So here comes Team New Zealand now. They're on starboard.
They're late.
So Team New Zealand do seem to be late. Definitely. One Australia are looking in very good position at the moment. So we're coming up to 25 seconds. One Australia are looking sharp at the moment. One Australia would be about 15 seconds back from the line. Team New Zealand are trying to build up momentum. They're deep in the start zone at 15 seconds. Too late, Team New Zealand. Far too late. So One Australia has won this easily. We can tell that even before they get to the gun. So here's the gun. One Australia is a boat length back from the line. The gun now. One Australia a boat length back from the line in the windward position. Meanwhile, Team New Zealand is a boat and a half length behind them as they tack over onto port. Well, that was not good. So now Team New Zealand have gone onto port and they've instigated a tacking duel even before they've cleared the start box. They move on to start. So One Australia is clearly in front. They've got a smother cover on Team New Zealand. The New Zealanders have got to wriggle out of this and get out of it fast. They've got to get out of phase. So here goes Team New Zealand. They're moving on to port. The Australians have put on a cover. Very good stuff from Australia at the moment. The New Zealanders have got to get out of this fast. They've gone back on to starboard. So now it's Team New Zealand that moved on to starboard. The Australians are going through a low-speed tack as well. Now they've gone on to starboard. The New Zealanders are wriggling. They're wanting to get out of this cover of the Australians. They haven't even got anywhere near maximum boat speed. Nowhere near momentum. The advantage would be a boat length and a half at least to One Australia, maybe two, and they're to windward. So One Australia really in the commanding position. It wasn't so much the brilliance of Rod Davis on the helm as perhaps we saw yesterday. Team New Zealand were late. Now Team New Zealand go through onto port. And it's One Australia who are tacking right in front of them.
Yes, terrible start there for Team New Zealand. Simply time and distance problems. That last tack really cost them. They basically wanted the windward end by the look of it, and they were simply left their run too late. They got too far away from the line. One Australia starting straight on top of them, and they started with maybe a 2-boat length advantage, and if anything, they built on that.
Well, in the previous 3 races, we have seen a slight edge to One Australia, maybe down at the pin end as yesterday, but Russell Coots is a percentage starter, and at least he's got something left, and at least he has always got the favoured end of the line. But this time he was directly down to leeward of One Australia, and so NZL 32 is definitely behind, and for the first time in the final of the Louis Vuitton Cup, the black boat is fighting to come from behind.
Well, we've said that Rod Davis had an excellent start, getting an advantage. Let's watch it on the One World of Sport animation.
Replaying the last minute, that's One Australia with the yellow dots coming out the back, and right through this last period they just had total control of Team New Zealand. Russell just mistimed his approach to the line. Here goes One Australia. They tacked across to get right on top of Team New Zealand, in your face. Led them in the whole way, spilling confused dirty air all over them, and Team New Zealand had no way out. Running horribly late, tacked in One Australia's wind shadow, and a tight tacking duel commenced here. Team New Zealand wriggling, trying to get out of that wind shadow, unable to do it. Rod Davis and his crew covering perfectly, very classical tight covering duel, and One Australia at this stage maintaining a nice lead, well deserved after an excellent start.
We've got ourselves a boat race. New Zealand 3-0 up, but under pressure in this race against One Australia.
Okay, we've got a different animal out here today. One Australia is certainly on the pace. They came off the line with a 2-boat length advantage, and I think they built on that. They even have the confidence right now to do a split tack situation and come across over to our right here. They look to be higher and at least as fast. Now, the only significant changes I can see is in trim and the use of this wire to the bottom of the first spreader. And what that is doing is stiffening the lower base of the mast, supporting it more so that they can wang on more main sheet and get more drive out of the leech. One Australia throws across onto starboard now. The other significant thing is they seem to be trimming much harder their sails, in tighter, and there's quite a lot of heel angle. All the crew are right up on the weather side, and they're trying very hard to get the height out of this boat. And if anything, One Australia look to be in command here and building on it. And here they come now. One Australia have the right of way. Team New Zealand must give way. Now Dean Phipps is on the bow. They're going to slam on top of him. They're protecting the right-hand side. Team New Zealand have gained a little bit more, but still One Australia in control. One Australia breaking right, Team New Zealand left. They must be pushing out towards the left-hand ley line. They must be getting well up this course too, and that means if One Australia lead round the top mark, then we've really got a boat race.
This is good stuff for Team New Zealand, and it's exactly the sort of preparation they need for the America's Cup.
One Australia tacking back onto port, right in the face of the New Zealanders.
They've got bow down.
Out of there. Hello, here's a go. Team New Zealand's going to have a go on them. Team New Zealand's holding on to port, because that was the point I was going to say to Pete Lester. The alternative would be to hold on to port and have the Australians right over the top of them.
Well, they've been given a chance here. The Australians have let Team New Zealand take that leeward position, and if the boat, Team New Zealand, we know that the boat is very, very quick, and they may well be able to squeeze the Australians out of that weather position. This will turn into a classic drag race to the top mark.
They managed to avoid getting trapped on that left-hand ley line by making a dive underneath One Australia. They've hung on to it. Now they're on the starboard ley line. Team New Zealand will have to follow One Australia round.
The Australians have just tacked onto starboard as they approach mark number 1. Alan Smith, who is the bowman on One Australia, setting up for a barrel-away set.
Stand by to the tack on One Australia. It's another boat length or two for the black boat. In the uncustomary position of coming second as One Australia's at the top mark. Real pressure here on the crews to do it right. One Australia to get it up and get away. Team New Zealand to get it up quickly at 14 seconds.
This is a great, great boat race here today. What a day.
Oh, there's a problem on One Australia. They've let their halyard go.
Fuck me.
They've still got the head of the spinnaker. It is 9-10 feet away from the top of the mast. Huge problems aboard One Australia. Team New Zealand have seized on the problem and they're challenging. One Australia in problem, they're slowly getting it up. It is still 6-7 feet away from the head of the spinnaker. All sorts of problems aboard One Australia, reflecting the intensity of the race.
What a mistake by One Australia. That is the pitman on One Australia. What he basically did was he didn't secure the spinnaker halyard in his rush to pull the halyard up. He didn't secure it on the winch. The halyard let go whilst he was letting the Genoa down, and all the air was spilled out of the spinnaker, and One Australia have lost significantly from this.
The end of the first windward leeward. 2 legs of 6 gone and One Australia in front. Before today's race, there's been 22 marks, and Black Magic had led in all of them. But in this race, it's One Australia leading at the first mark, and they've held off a ferocious attack and challenge from Black Magic on the first downhill slide. Australia 31 at the leeward mark. Harden's on. So it's 12 seconds.
Watch for Team New Zealand tacking and maybe a dummy. Here go Team New Zealand, one Australia going with them. Will it be a dummy? Watch for it. They're head to end. They're faking. Watch for the dummy. They're going back. They've done it. Split tack.
It's a dummy tack by the New Zealanders, and they're out of phase just like that. As One Australia have gone through under port, and they're committed to hold on to that to build up momentum. And the New Zealanders are away on starboard out of sync.
That's a classic Russell move, that. One Australia were desperately watching him. We saw it before. We thought about it before. We came around that bottom mark with them. They fake tack. One Australia bit, took it hook, line and sinker and a broken rope. Team New Zealand got fresh air left.
Well, what do you reckon? Team New Zealand might have made a bit of a game there. Whoop.
Oh, a bit of a mistake by Team New Zealand. They've got locked in here. This is going to cost them.
Team New Zealand.
Slight misjudgment there by Team New Zealand. They were halfway through the process of rolling out, and they hesitated, and they're going to pay a price here.
You'd have to assume Team New Zealand is going a touch faster because they keep coming back at One Australia, but One Australia are sailing exceptionally good match racing tactics and holding them out, preventing them from overtaking.
Let's go.
Here's a gain to Team New Zealand again.
They're going bow down.
He's going bow down. He wants to get in that safe leeward position.
Same as last time.
Trying to get off that left-hand ley line.
Very surprised to see them, One Australia, let them do that again.
Well, what are the options, though, Chris, if the New Zealanders want to go bow down further?
Well,
pull their head off.
No. What happens is One Australia, when they come across, rather than tacking on New Zealand's face, they should tack slightly in front or slightly to leeward, and that will stop this happening. And Team New Zealand still couldn't live there. They'd still have to tack away. I don't understand why they did it on the first beat, and now on the second beat, Team New Zealand can now hang on to this slight disadvantage, and again it'll be sort of 15 seconds around the top mark.
And just look at those tacks, all of those zigzags. The boats were tied together with a bit of bungee cord. It seemed as they just tacked their way up the middle of the course. Team New Zealand now with their nose underneath are trying to get back into the middle of the course. That's the ley line Peter Lester was talking about, out to the left. They're trying desperately to stay away from that. Minimal losses, try and get back into the middle of the course to stay close to One Australia around mark number 3.
Coming to mark number 3, halfway through this race 4 of the Challenger Final for America's Cup 95. And One Australia in front. They have done a super job on this beat to windward. Anything over 12 seconds is a gain to One Australia. So a plus 6 seconds to One Australia on leg number 3, the second beat to windward.
Right in the middle of the course, no dangers of ley lines. Good mile to go. Got to get round them.
Enough time, Peter.
It's tough from here. One Australia have got clear air just in front of Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand just need to keep toiling away. They need to catch a couple of waves that One Australia don't get. They can just get advanced a little bit more. Do nice manoeuvres.
Catching a lovely sea now.
Well, that's a sign that it's been hard work today.
We're about half a mile from the finish. One Australia jibing right in front of Team New Zealand.
They're running on a runway.
Team New Zealand jibing away.
So just over a couple of 300 metres to go to the finish. One Australia are on their way.
Well, it was Rod Davis who gave Australia the advantage. That was at the start when he crossed the line about 12 seconds ahead of Russell Coutts. They stretched out to 14 seconds around the first mark. It was only 12 at the second. 18 seconds was the biggest margin. That was around the third mark. 11 and then 15 seconds around the last mark and the run towards the finish line.
New Zealand 3, 1 Australia 0, going into this 4th race of the Louis Vuitton Cup final. A must win for 1 Australia, and they are going to win to stay alive in their hopes to challenge for America's Cup 95. What a super race. It's been one of the best of the regatta. John Bertrand and his men dominating from the start. Rod Davis outstanding, getting a very good start. And the Australians have defended magnificently, both on the beat and off the water. And coming down to the line, 1 Australia get the gun to win race 4 of the Louis Vuitton Cup final. And Team New Zealand are beaten on the water for the first time. Well, it's relief and delight for John Bertrand and his team. Well done, guys, and certainly it was. 15 seconds back to Team New Zealand. They're on a bungee cord all around the way around the course, from 12 seconds behind at the start out to 18 seconds behind at the second windward mark, finishing 15 seconds behind.
Good stuff.
This race was not a foregone conclusion.
Good shit.
Well, I think, Jan, from here we can say that that's really why the New Zealanders have been so low-key about the whole thing, because it was never certain.
Absolutely. No, it's never certain in yachting. And as we can see, that start is incredibly important, but we've seen 1 Australia come back strong, good boat speed, and that's absolutely why they're not going to think that it's a foregone conclusion.
Whatever it is, it works.
Conditions obviously played its part here today.
They did, but I believe 1 Australia obviously looked at themselves last night. They made some changes to the boat. They psychologically, I think they really looked at themselves. Rod Davis last night, really at the press conference, said about how they were going to approach today, and he went out there and nailed the start, and that was the race for them.
So now does the pressure go back on Team New Zealand, particularly around start time?
I think the pressure's always on Team New Zealand. The start today, obviously a slight misjudgment, but no, I think they just carry on business as usual. The pressure of going through this series undefeated has gone, and I think that's good. I don't believe they need that on their plate. That's not going to win the America's Cup, going through the Louis Vuitton unbeaten. And I just see that they'll have a full debrief tonight. It'll be long and meaningful. And obviously they'll review a bit of their hardware. Maybe the Code 7 mainsail that we've seen up till now might go back on the boat tomorrow. And of course tomorrow is going to be a huge day and quite strong wind predicted.
Well, I could give you the short version or the long version of the start, and I guess the short version is I just stuffed the start up, and the long version is I really stuffed the start up. So, you know, after that, when Australia these guys did a great job, full marks to you, and it was a tough race. We did throw, you know, as much as we could at them, and these guys responded excellently. Well done, guys.
It was a pretty hard boat race, actually, what I can remember of it. I think that both teams did quite a good job, and it's one of those things that two tough teams going at each other, and we came out a little bit better today, but we're very much looking forward to going off and doing battle again tomorrow.
We were expecting to lose a couple of races in the 4th round with the way we went into it and the way we thought the other boats were performing, and a few things have gone our way, and up until now we hadn't lost a race, and so we got to the finals of the Louis Vuitton unbeaten, and but we always thought it was going to be a hard regatta to win, and that the Australians are one of the best teams here, or they wouldn't be in the finals, and it's going to be hard to beat them. And so we lost one today, and they sailed very, very well today, and we just have to keep going the way we've been going and sail again tomorrow, and hopefully we can win.
I bet the Australians are delighted with that scoreboard at the moment, getting on the board for the first time in the finals, the best of 9 series. It's 3-1 to New Zealand.